T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Drunk Turkey Show. I'm Daniel. Alongside with me is Jaime. Back after a little bit of a break from the Kohberger hearing that is still ongoing, I believe. It is
It's a marathon.
It is a marathon. From what I understand, they're still on the first argument. Oh, no. So Jaime's been having some technical difficulty. It looked like you froze there, but I think I hear him. Are you there? No, it looks like he froze out. No biggie. We'll continue onward. Let's see. So right now, what's been going on in court has been basically that Bryan Kohberger's defense attorneys have been, questioned the validity of the knife DNA that was left on the knife sheath. And I understand it. I've said this like several times. I get why they want to do that, but at the end of the day, hold on one second. I don't know. I just think it's like it's just a tactic, because I think that even if they had that information, I'm not sure they would be able to do anything with it, because what would be the optimum goal with that, information from the tree is to get it thrown out. And if they get it thrown out, then you're back to square one, in my opinion. So let's see what Twitterverse is saying, referencing the case. So court was adjourned. It'll be live one more time tonight on Banfield, but court is adjourned as of 9 minutes ago. 9 minutes ago, court finally ended there. Court is trying to schedule a day to discuss a motion to dismiss indictment. The defense hopes to propose it sooner than later, but the judge says he's very busy trying to clear a schedule before October 2nd. The state is arguing that it needs time to go through the motion and build their argument against it once it is filed. They say they need at least 7 days. The motion to dismiss indictment has been scheduled for 1 p.m. Pacific time on September 1st. That's pretty big news right there, in my opinion. I think we all do, right? So what ended up being the outcome of the genetic tree is the state going to have to hand that over to the prosecution, or the defense? I'm sorry. Discussing deadlines. We're now 6 weeks from trial. Deadlines for completion of discovery is September 1st. Deadline for expertise disclosure is September 8th. If there is an actual alibi is required by September 8th. So they have extended the alibi yet again for September 8th. I don't think we're going to get it. Put a 1 in the comment section if you think we're going to get an actual alibi. Put a 2 if you think we're not. I want to know what you guys think. What's up, Publicly Buzz in the house? How do you get you guys back on panel? We need to have another show, y'all. So, deadline for pretrial motions, including those related to the death penalty, September 8th. Deadline for response to motions, September 15th. Deadline for proposed jury questionnaire, September 18th. Deadline for proposed witness under Rules 16b6, C3 is September 15th. And deadline for Rule 404b notices September 15th. Court will hear all motions September 22nd at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Jury selection will be September 25th, 26th, and 27th, possibly more. Final pretrial conference September 29th at 10 a.m. Trial will begin October 2nd at 8 a.m. through November 17th. And I actually think this might actually go down on, on October 2nd. There's been a lot of question out there. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? I think there's a good possibility that this trial could actually begin on October 2nd. There's some benefits, there's some pros, and there's some cons to that, right? So what are the pros? For the prosecution, you have 51 terabytes of evidence. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it out loud, I don't think there's much there. Because if the defense team is already actively ready to go, even though there's 51 terabytes, that might be an illusion of evidence, right? They tell you this big old number so that, we the people think that there's like a whole lot of evidence going on against this person, right? And the thing is, I think a lot of it is going to be footage for like 24 hours of surveillance, right? You're going to have 24 hours of surveillance at, 11:12. You're probably going to have 24 hours of surveillance. I mean, that's 1112 King Road, the residents that heard the thud and everything else. The Linda Lane footage, you're probably going to have 24 hours of that. All of those cameras and footages that were taken that saw Kohberger's vehicle, allegedly Kohberger's vehicle, traveling through town. Each one of those is probably going to have 24 hours worth of footage. So that's going to add up, right? And eventually that's going to equate to a whole lot of fluff. Like, it's there, but it's not real. Like, you're not going to utilize all that evidence, right? And so if that's all they have, then I can see the defense saying, all right, we're ready to go. We don't need that much time, right? Now, the prosecution, the pro and the con for it is that if there is significant amount of evidence, is that, the defense is limited in the amount of time that they have to create a defense for their client. And the same thing goes for the prosecution. They're limited with the time that they have to build a case and find evidence against the defendant. So it's going to be interesting. It's an interesting tactic that these guys, each side are doing. The defense, in my opinion, very much looks like, don't say Linda Lane. The defense, in my opinion, very much looks like they're trying to push this down the line a little bit. In my opinion, with some of these motions and stay orders and things like that. So there's a good possibility they move this down. What is up, my man? Glad to have you back.
I'm having trouble with my connection over here, buddy.
It's all right, buddy. It's no big deal.
You're muffled, by the way.
Probably because my fan is pointed right at me. It's hot, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have to tell you more than once.
I understand. I totally understand.
So there was a couple of things that have been put out there. First and foremost, court has been adjourned, and there's some deadlines that have been put out there. One is for if there is an actual alibi, now is required by September 8th. Do you think we're going to get an alibi in here?
Well, I mean, it took this long to get the first one.
I got a lot of twos. I asked the chat, put a 1 if they think they're going to get it, put a 2 if they're not. I think that's all 1.
Well,
1.
Well, weren't they supposed to provide an alibi within the 2 weeks or something?
Yeah, he was supposed to provide it, and then they didn't, and then they did after the after the deadline, and the one that they did was just of him driving around by himself aimlessly. But I think they're
not a good one.
No. Well, the thing is, he didn't even say in which direction he was driving, what towns he drove through, things like that. Just the fact that he was in his car driving around. And I think that's important because if he was driving, let's just say he went to Spokane or he went to Coeur d'Alene or to Johnson, and he can say that hey, I left Pullman and I went north to Coeur d'Alene. Well, then his defense team can go in there and pull up, subpoena the traffic lights in Coeur d'Alene and see his vehicle coming in. And if that's where he's at during the time of the incident, well, you have an innocent man in jail. But if he never shows up there, it just doesn't look good, right?
Yeah.
And so he can't show up somewhere he says he's at if he never says where he's at, right? So I think that's just the narrative that they're going with on that aspect. Let's see. Do you think this court's actually going to start on October 2nd? It seems like they have a lot of deadlines put in. They have several for September 1st, September 8th, the 15th, the 18th, and the 22nd. And then they plan on having jury selection the 25th through 27th. Would if you were selected for jury duty in Idaho, let's just say you're in Idaho right now and you're selected for jury duty. Are you they're not obviously going to tell you, hey, it's for the Bryan Kohberger case, right? Yeah. They're just going to tell you, hey, there's a possibility of jury duty, and there's more than that case that's going on. Right. So would you be excited to be a juror if you ever got called in and there's a possibility that you'd be on a high profile case like this?
It's like a baseball game. You rather see it. For me, watching on TV is boring, but actually being there will be fun. You know what I mean? I think being there will be a whole different feeling. You know what I mean? To actually be there and see everything that a lot of people won't be able to see.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's also the book deals that come afterwards, and the movie deals.
You think this guy's got that?
Yeah. You're like I already just changed my address to somewhere in Idaho so I can be selected. But I'd be excited. That's why I get sort of excited when I get called for jury duty. But so far, I've never been selected for some reason. I don't know why.
You too gangsta, homie.
Maybe I need to stop, showing off my tattoo tears and going in there with the bandana,
the Danny Trejo tattoo on your chest.
Yeah, maybe if I go in there a little bit more appropriate, I'll get selected.
Yeah, if you walk in there with a shirt that actually has sleeves, maybe.
I'm just thinking to myself though. I would want to be a juror on a case. It doesn't have to be anything high profile, but just on something that is, kind of important, a big case, and one that has some arguments going back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I would like that. But let's continue to dig through Twitterverse and try to see what else is out there in the Bryan Kohberger case. Let's see. This is a guy from the Idaho Statesman that I'm following. All right, let's see. Amended by judge so witnesses are moved to 9/8 deadline. You know what's crazy, dude? You know what they say that, you know, the ads that you get are a reflection of,
is that Tommy?
Of yourself?
Is that Tommy Chong?
I have been getting promoted from Tommy Chong to Cheech and Chong, some like all day on X, which sounds weird, like to say, because it sounds like I'm on drugs when I say, "Oh yeah, I'm on X," but it's actually now X is the new name of Twitter.
Yeah,
you know, Elon Musk likes the name X, and so it's now called X.
X gonna give it to you.
So for about the last hour, attorneys for Bryan Kohberger defense and prosecution argued the merits on turning over the DNA genetic evidence through discovery. Elisa Massoff argued for the defense and Jeff Nye of the Idaho AG office argued for the prosecution. The judge said he wouldn't rule on it today. All right, that's basically what they've been arguing about all day today, right? Was, you know, having to turn that on over. Olivia too comes in with a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
We appreciate y'all's help and promotion of the channel. We wouldn't get to where we are without you guys. And if you're new here, please consider hitting that like button and that subscribe button. We'd appreciate it. In fact, I gotta change this up. Like, comment, and subscribe.
So, I like it.
Right. And so here's the thing about the genetic evidence. Like, I get why the defense wants it. They want it because they want everything that has to do with their case. And I think their question is that, or their claim is that their case was built after they got the name Bryan Kohberger, and that they're fitting the evidence to point at Kohberger. Mm-hmm. Now, based on what the state said, right, in their own document, they when referring to the genetic tree, stating that per the FBI standard of operations, SOPs, that it has to be a last resort, and that there is no other possible means of or method of finding a suspect. Mm-hmm. So, or a lead, I believe is the terminology that they use. So just based on that alone, that indicates to me that they didn't have a lead. They couldn't have had a lead. I mean, why build a genetic tree, right? Why build a genetic tree if you already have Bryan Kohberger's name? Just go pick up his trash somewhere. Just like they did with the, apparently they picked up somebody else's trash, the cigarette bud. That was in the court document. They had a cigarette bud that they secretly had to go pick up. So if they had Bryan Kohberger's name prior to the genetic tree, all they had to do was just wait for him to drop something. I get he was wearing gloves and doing all this weird stuff, but nobody's perfect. He's gonna leave his DNA somewhere, right? Yeah. So that tells me that they didn't see him as a suspect until after the genetic tree. Would you agree with me on that, or what are your thoughts on that?
No, man, I totally agree. Like you said, it would have been easier just to go, instead of going through the whole process of that, you know what I mean? It would have just easier to get his DNA somewhere where he disposed some trash or whatnot. Instead of going through the whole, what was it, the father, right? Through the father.
Well, no. The genetic tree that they're talking about isn't even the father. Mm-hmm. So the father, the DNA that they collected on the father was in an attempt to locate or to grasp Bryan Kohberger's DNA. So by the time that they realized that Bryan Kohberger was a suspect, right? This is after. I got to move that down because that golf thing was distracting me. Um, thank you, Angel D, for your $2 super chat. Let's get hashtag DTS to 40K. Let's go, guys. Come on. The shades are going to come off. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 40,000. I appreciate that. Thank you so much,
Shades,
Angel.
the shades, and maybe the shirt.
I don't know about that, man. We might go under like 35 if that happens. So, like I was saying, man, I forgot what I was saying. What was I saying, Hyman?
The dad was an attempt to.
Oh yeah. So the dad was an attempt to get Kohberger's DNA, but because Kohberger was like taking his trash out and wearing gloves and doing all that other stuff, the DNA that they found ended up being his dad's.
Yeah.
But what they did was they got the DNA and they tested it to the sample, and that's when it came back as a hit to being the father of the suspect, right?
Yeah.
And so that was enough to help get the arrest warrant. Now, once they got the arrest warrant and they had him in custody, they pulled out a warrant to test Bryan Kohberger's DNA to the DNA that was on the knife sheath directly.
Yeah.
And that came back to a match. So that genetic stuff that they're arguing about is the genetic tree that was created by the FBI. Now, I agree that maybe they should get it, you know, and we had Zach, an attorney here in San Antonio, on the show, and he was like, hey, give it to them. It probably, you know, isn't going to work in their benefit. It could bite them in the butt. And I get that. But I think the problem is it's been destroyed or it's been deleted by the FBI. They don't have it. So I like that koozie, sir.
Thank you. I got it today. Awesome. Thanks, man.
No problem. No problem. If you guys are interested in a koozie, that same one is right here.
Boom.
Check them out. And we have a light and colored one with the with us.
With the picture there. I don't like.
Let me know what you guys think about. Let me know what you guys think about our new logo. Let me know if you like it. But yeah, those koozies are there. Email us if you're interested in one. They're $12, $15 shipped. Yeah, check us out. Give us an email. But you know, with Kohberger, they obviously didn't have his name or information until that point. To me, what I think is that the defense is hoping because there was never an intent to use this information in court, that a chain of custody or proper chain of command or documentation could have been done. Improper documentation could have been done, right? And what I think is going on is they want it to be on record that there was a contamination, there was a mishandling or a chain of custody issue amongst the evidence. And that way they can bring that up in court and say, isn't it true that during the testing of the DNA evidence that there was a mishandling or a chain of custody problem, blah, 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 and say it in a way that a juror who they're hoping, you know, hasn't seen these proceedings, doesn't know anything about all this stuff, because this is to determine if they can use it or not, right? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, one of these jurors, they're hoping that one of them is going to be like, hey, well, they screwed up the DNA, so the DNA can't be trusted. You know, I'm going to say not guilty.
Mm-hmm. That's all they pretty much do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I think is going to happen, is they're trying to create reasonable, or not just reasonable doubt, but try to create doubt when it comes to the DNA by talking about this genetic tree and the creation of it, even though it has zero to do with Bryan Kohberger's DNA matching directly to the knife sheath.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're also trying to see if they can get what's it called? How they received everything after the DNA, right after or right before the DNA. They will try not to make sure that it's not like admissible in court. Almost.
Well, that's what we're doing right now is checking to see if any of
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just that aspect, but this right now is if they're well, basically the defense is trying to force the prosecution to give them how they came up with, Kohberger, which is they want the tree information. Now, there was one thing that I thought was extremely big that came out in this case today, and that was the fact that, according to the defense, they do not know who the unidentified male DNA were. That remember there was two unidentified male DNA found near where the bodies were, where two of the bodies were,
No,
and
why
then
not?
there was
So,
and then there was a third one found outside.
mhm.
Right? They don't know the results of that, and according to the prosecution, instead of them saying we do have the results of that information, and it's with the defense, they say that they have given them everything that they have, and if they don't have it, then it doesn't exist. Kind of leading me to believe that they never identified the unidentified DNA that was also in that room.
Yeah. Or they
Do you think
couldn't.
that's a problem?
Or they couldn't, or they chose not to follow through with it.
Well, you would think that if there was DNA in the vicinity of where the bodies were, don't you think that they would try to figure out who they were too? Do the same thing, do the genetic tree, figure out who it is.
What about if there's no hit?
Well, there wasn't a hit on Kohberger, and they did a genetic tree through Ancestry or 23andMe. Why not do the same thing?
Yeah, but what about if there's no hit, like even for a relative, you know what I mean, to create that tree? I mean,
that's pretty unlikely, but
yeah, that's pretty unlikely. But what if? I mean, especially on two people, two different
right,
types of DNA.
right, exactly. There's two people in there for both of them to not get a hit,
And only get Kohbergers.
Yeah, that's unlikely. Now, do you think that law enforcement and prosecution said, "Hey, we have this DNA. It's on the bed, right? Is it possible that it's on the bed, and you have DNA on a sheath? They come back to different people. I'm not seeing a connection where you don't test it.
Yeah,
I just don't. I'm not seeing a reason why you wouldn't. Like, I'm trying to figure that out, and I can't think of one.
Did they mention where the DNA was found?
It just said that it was in the premises or in the area of two of the bodies. Now, if it's a cop's DNA, cops give up their fingerprints and DNA when they get hired in case of a situation like this. Which is why I said, like, the genetic tree doesn't matter. Let's just say, you throw that out, and Kohberger was applying for internship with police departments and things of that nature. If he would have gotten hired at a police department, they would have taken his DNA and his fingers swab or his fingerprints and all that other stuff and entered it into a database. So that way you don't come across a situation where if he's like at a crime scene, right? Because let's just say Kohberger becomes a cop one day, or Big Blue becomes a police officer, and he goes to the crime scene and he sneezes, right? And then he doesn't have a record, so he wouldn't be in CODIS. And if he continues being a law-abiding police officer, he'll never be in CODIS. And so if somebody goes in there, forensics, and they find that DNA and they put it into the system, it's going to come back as an unknown, and it could be an unknown forever. You get what I'm saying? And so to make sure that it doesn't happen, they check all that stuff, and that way they test it. So he was eventually going to get caught if he ever decided to be a police officer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And how do you you wouldn't be able to argue that hit either, because it would have been his. But the other thing is, the FBI never also tested Kohberger's DNA to the DNA that was on the knife sheath. So they don't know with 100% certainty that it is. And if you have information that's not 100% certain, then you can't use that in court, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, what's it called? Coming back to the other DNAs that they found, if let's say if one of the DNAs they found on the bed, let's say, well, that obviously that DNA wouldn't be touch DNA, right? It would be maybe like saliva or some kind of like fluid, like bodily fluid.
I mean, it could still be touch DNA. I mean, it could be a lot of different type of DNA. They didn't specify what type it was.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows? Maybe it was some type of like, bodily fluid or whatnot.
Yeah, it could have been. It definitely could have been. But even if it were, why not test it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't know whose it is.
So it's almost like they're like, oh, it hit on Kohberger, that's it, that's enough.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what the defense. Like yeah, that's what the defense is arguing.
Yeah,
the defense is arguing is that they, pinpointed or pointed in towards to Kohberger, and that was their guy, and that was it. And so, I don't know. I think it's a tactic because, like I said before, honestly, you can't do much with it. If you get the genetic tree, and let's just say there is no chain of evidence issues, there is no contamination issues, right? Everything was done by the books by the FBI. Then that evidence kind of points towards Kohberger and would actually make it look worse towards him. Don't you think?
Yeah. No, definitely.
So, not being rude, there's no proof he committed the crime. I mean, his DNA was only on the holder of the weapon that is suspected to have been committed in the crime. That tool was found underneath the body of a victim. It is suspected that person operated a vehicle that is very much similar to Kohberger's without a front license plate, that was seen driving around, and also in Pullman, Washington, that has been confirmed by his phone pings or locations that it was him. At least in Pullman, because that's when his phone was on, right? And if it wasn't him, we're expected to believe that. I don't know. Let's try to make the most logical explanation for it. If I was a defense team and trying to argue this based on the facts of the evidence that is currently known, I would say, Bryan Kohberger, either had the knife stolen or he handled it somewhere, right? Let's just say at a garage sale or at a knife convention. He went to a convention, he saw it. It just so happened that the real killer was there too, and right behind Kohberger, after he touched it, picked it up and bought it and took it and made sure that person's DNA didn't get on the sheath, but was able to maintain the DNA that Bryan Kohberger's DNA on the sheath, right? And so he knew Kohberger was also going to drive around that night and turn his phone off between the hours of 2:47 and
conveniently
4:48. He knew, but he had to have known, right? You have to be aware of that. He also knew what kind of vehicle Kohberger drove. So this person went out and bought a vehicle or test drove a white Elantra and took it home for the weekend. And that's why he didn't have a front license plate, because it didn't have real license plates, right? So he was like, I'm gonna frame Kohberger. I got his DNA. I'm gonna go find a 2013 Hyundai Elantra with a sunroof.
Mhm.
and and I'm gonna frame him because I know that he drives around late at night by himself, and when he does that, turns his phone off.
Right? Who doesn't listen to music while they're driving?
I mean, I get it, but like to turn your phone off and to know that during that specific time that's when Kohberger does it. And if Kohberger drives around at night, how would that person know? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
How would they know if he does it by himself as he claims? How would anybody else know that that's what he's doing? And so I don't know. I mean, if you can believe that, I got a place here in South San Antonio that gets snow 25 days out of the year that I'll sell you. But yeah, like I said, I think he did it. Now, I think there's a lot of hurdles here for the prosecution. And one of them is going to be the fact that they didn't change the vehicle that they were looking for until after they got Kohberger's name.
Yeah.
Well, they never did, actually. Not to the public, at least. Right? And then you also have the fact that the DNA that puts Kohberger there is transfer DNA. Probably the weakest type of DNA evidence that's out there. And you have his phone history that I think is damning, but I think could be or should be excluded from court based on the fact that I don't think that warrant was strong enough
to warrant that.
Yeah, to violate his rights.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, we're 6 weeks until trial, and Kohberger's defense team has not, filed a motion to suppress that evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is? That they're fighting so hard to get evidence to come out that could make Kohberger look bad, and at worst or at best, you can just throw it out and you're still at square one.
Yeah.
Why argue that and not argue the warrant for the phone?
I think because they're gonna try to use that to, maybe I know that they were saying that they started seeing his movements from, what was it, June or something, right?
Yeah, August. Yeah,
something.
Yeah, June. Yeah,
June.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that they have phone records or either pings or whatever from even before that he was out and about around that same time, using those same streets, highways, and whatnot.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I can come with to make it seem like they said it's a habit that he has of doing this.
Yeah, but here's the thing: I think they're gonna find out that he was driving around that area, for a few weeks there, because I don't think you drive around that area with your phone off, not GPS, with as dark as it is out there on those county roads, if you're not driving there multiple times to make sure you know where you're going.
Yeah. Was it like snowing that day too?
And no, not that night. It had snowed. Yeah, it had snowed a couple of times, but not that night. In fact, let me
but even though he was still kind of new, right? To the part of town.
Yeah, exactly. He'd only been there for like 3-4 months, and so I think he got there in late July, and if that ends up being the case, no way. Let's see. Let me pull it up. Idaho. All right. So, in my opinion, there's no way that he would have, been able to have driven around back in this area.
Do you think that maybe they're not trying to throw it out because even in the what's it called, the PCA, right? They had Kohberger in town when he wasn't, and they admitted that he wasn't actually in town at that time.
Well,
Is that
so
something that they might use?
they might, but the thing is, I think it's going to be easily explained. So when the first time that I read the probable cause affidavit and I saw that, I thought that was interesting, like super interesting. I was like, man, why even put that in there? Like, I get you have to disclose things to the prosecution, but why even put that in there now?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't belong there. And then I started thinking about it, and then I talked to Kaylee Goncalves, and she ended up sending me an article on FBI's cast and how accurate it works, and this, that, and a third. I think what they're trying to say, and the problem is they're copying and pasting a lot of reports together, in my opinion, to make the probable cause affidavit, and so it doesn't flow right. It doesn't flow right at all. But I think what they're trying to say is that they're aware of how accurate that the cast information is.
Yeah.
That he connected to a tower, not that he was pinged or was given location, just that he connected to a tower. But they don't believe that he was in Moscow. So the way the cast thing works is, from my understanding, it uses historical data, so it's not triangulating strength signal like old school. It uses historical GPS data, and apparently, what it also does is it sends there's a record of a signal that is sent from the tower to the phone and back that is measured as far as like how long it takes for that signal to come back and forth, and that determines your location within feet of your accuracy.
Yeah, it's a lot more accurate than it used to be, right?
Right. So what I think happened is, what they're saying is, he connected to that tower, but cast is showing him that signal took so long to get back that he wasn't there.
Yeah, it was like probably at the outskirt of where that tower was. He was able to connect to.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, that makes total sense.
And so, I think that's why they use that. And here's the thing. And I want to ask you honestly. So we know that Bryan Kohberger was by his phone records was moving around in Pullman at 2:44 a.m. We know that his phone turns off at 2:50 in Pullman, and by his own, testimony, he was driving around, so he's not saying he was asleep. Yeah. So he maintained that he was awake between 2:40 or whenever they first see him to he gets back at 5:36. Now at 9 he leaves and goes back to Moscow. Right now, I don't think anybody's just waking up at if somebody's going to sleep at 5:36. I don't think they're going right back to sleep right then and there without showering or stuff like that. And B, I don't think somebody's waking up at 8:59 and out the door at 9 a.m. to go see what's up. He must have been up for a little bit after or a little bit before 9 a.m. when he's recorded to have left his residence, and up for a little bit after 5:36 when he's recorded getting back home. So let's just put it at 5:50 to 8:30, right? And that's about 2 hours and 40 minutes that he possibly could have gone to sleep. All right, so he goes at 9 o'clock, goes to Moscow, comes back. He's back at 9:30. By 12:30, he's in Clarkston, Washington, which I believe is like an hour or so away from Pullman. I'm going to double check real quick to make sure I'm accurate. So Clarkston, Washington, directions, Pullman. Yeah, it's about 45 minutes of a drive. So if he's there at 12:36, that puts him leaving his house around 11:50.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 45 and 50.
yeah, you would think that there's another 2 hours where he could have slept. So we're up to 4 hours separated by him leaving to Moscow, and that's if he slept.
Yeah.
All right, so he's in Clarkson at 12:30. He's out there in this area until 5:30, or until about 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, he starts to head back to Pullman.
Mm-hmm.
He turns his phone off at Johnson, Idaho, and it's off between 5:30 and 8:30 p.m. And he is suspected to be in the area in which he was at immediately following the incident that night before, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know where he is at 8:30 when his phone comes back on, and I don't know how much earlier he'd been awake. Is there a possibility that Bryan Kohberger went to sleep at 5 p.m. on November 12th and woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning? And that would explain why he was able to, stay awake throughout the entire day. Or is it possible that he had been up since 8 in the morning? And if that ends up being the case, that he'd been up all day, all that night,
Yeah.
commits a quadruple homicide. Now, in my opinion, we have to put in some context here. That is going to have a huge adrenaline dump. Now, I can tell you guys from experience in being in high stress, high adrenaline situations, that once you're out of those situations, you get freaking tired.
Yeah.
And yet he was able to do all of this after that. Do you think that if Bryan Kohberger committed this crime and did all these things, do you think he did it on something?
Possible. Especially because, like you said, when adrenaline once you have this adrenaline rush and it's gone, so you become tired, and even like, what's it called? Your body aches and stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So the possibility is there that he was on something.
I mean, he didn't go to work on the 14th. We know that from the Bryan tally off the ABC podcast, right? So I think in order for that to have happened, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if coffee is strong enough, to overcome this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I drove 12 hours, remember, on the 5-hour energy drinks?
But you didn't commit a quadruple homicide just
and I
shortly
didn't.
before.
Yeah. So, whenever we left Las Vegas, right? Yeah, that was brutal. But yeah, it's even after that, after the 5-hour energy thing, like, wore off, man. I slept for like 13 hours, man. I was like in a small coma. So I could just imagine when adrenaline hits, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. I don't know, which drugs or narcotics he could have been on.
Mm-hmm.
The initial one that came up to my mind when I was talking to my buddy Robert, who's currently a police officer in one of these small towns outside of San Antonio. And first thing that we came up with, because we're talking about this case, was, man, I think he was on PCP or something to be able to do all of this.
Yeah, that would have been my first guess, PCP.
Yeah, I mean, or maybe meth, some sort of upper to the max. And I mean, it could explain, having the ability to commit a crime like this, as heinous as it was, and very maliciously, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but
I still want to find out what's going on with the 51 terabytes. You know what I mean? I know it could be a lot of things, but maybe more video or surveillance footage, maybe.
I don't know though, man. It's I think it's just going to be all like you have cameras here. They'd have him here.
Mhm.
These two cameras probably got him.
Do you think they have his license plates and everything? They would have put that on the affidavit, right?
I don't think they do in the.
I mean, well, at least mention it, right?
Right. I think if they did, if they had his license plate, they would have arrested him a long time ago. You know what I mean? They would have needed the genetic stuff. They would have found him a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they have his license plate in Moscow. Okay. But I think they could in what do you call it, in out here in Pullman. I think that this street here, where these street cams are that caught him, there's lights around here. All right. And so it's kind of lit up. You have lights here, you got lights there. So I think that it's quite possible. Oh man, this is a beautiful area though.
Right.
It's quite possible that because he drove through here, through Stadium Way to get back home. That these cameras here caught him.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So these cameras could have possibly have gotten his license plate. I mean, you see this camera here on this light pole, and then you have another one facing downward.
You know, it's crazy because like I remember I went to San Antonio one time and I ran a red light, man. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And they took a picture of me, man. Like, they took a picture and sent me a picture. It has like my back license plate and then a picture of the front of the car. You can totally see me eating the potato chip. Like, so like those photos are pretty damn clean, man. They're pretty good. So I don't know if that's the same case here, but I mean, like, you know, for what I experienced is like, hey, I could see myself eating a chip. I had a chip in my hand.
Yeah, I mean, and those are going to be pretty. What's the word I'm looking for? Those are going to be pretty detailed. But the thing is, when it comes to Bryan Kohberger in Moscow, I think that the only thing that he's captured on for the most part are the residential security cams. And I think that there was a security cam at the A&W here that was facing this direction that may have caught the profile of the vehicle, you know, the side of it. Yeah. You know, there was one thing in the probable cause affidavit, and I mentioned it, you know, the other night on the map show where I was breaking down the maps, that the probable cause affidavit states that they suspect that he went this direction towards Pullman because it was a direct shot. You can get to Pullman from this direction, right? And the problem with that is, he didn't. He ended up south, right? Now, if he would have gone this direction to go south, the conventional way, I think that vehicle would have been caught on these cameras.
Did you hear me cough, Chess?
No, I didn't.
Okay, good. So I didn't notice. I didn't know if I was muted or not.
I heard you do some weird, uncomfortable noises, though.
What's it called? So, what if they were down, or they haven't been working for a while?
That's true. They could be down, but if they're operational, that leads me to believe that he didn't come this way.
Yeah.
Right, and that he would have had to have gone this direction to basically, and it's a weird route. It only adds 2 miles to the trip. Probably add about 4 minutes, right, to go this weird route, but it puts you back on the highway that you would have been on, and you're on your way. You're heading south. And when he turns his phone off the next day in Johnson, Idaho, there's these streets here that would put him back over here fairly quickly to cross over. And those are the red ones. And so he had his phone off for about 3 hours doing God knows what.
Who knows, man? Maybe hiding something.
Yeah, maybe. We're gonna take a quick break real quick. I'm gonna show you guys our little giveaway or raffle that we have going on with a quilt, and also tell you guys that if you guys purchase one of these koozies, you still got a chance. For every koozie that you purchase from here to Saturday, that's been going on all week, you get entered into the raffle for the quilt. This quilt's going to be raffled off in about 2 weeks, y'all. You still got time to enter into it. Let's give you those details. And when we get back on the other side, we're going to be talking about Rachel Morin. There's been some developments in that case as well. This is our little Frenchie Nelson. Nelson was the runt of his litter. Unfortunately, he was diagnosed with IVD, which resulted in him losing the ability to move his rear legs. Now, we were left with a couple of options. One being down or two, go through a costly surgery, which wasn't guaranteed to work. We gave Nelson that chance, and we went through the surgery. And fortunately, today he can walk, and he's not 100%, but he's getting there. Through rehab and continual rehab, we think he may. Those bills are extensive and continuous. In efforts to lower that financial strain, we've decided to do a raffle. This raffle is going to be of a 4x3 handmade quilt. This quilt was actually made by my mother-in-law, and so high quality. I think you'll love it. It's a rescue themed quilt. So how do you enter? There is a $5 entry to get into the raffle. All entries will be through Cash App, $ Drunk Turkey Show to enter. In the description, make sure you put your shipping address and your name. If you want to put in multiple, you can do so. You can send in, for instance, 25 and also put in the description 5 entries. The raffle will be on August 28th. The winner will be chosen at random by a wheel selector. Don't need to be present on the live. Good luck and thank you. Hey, so we still got time. $5 entries. Also, like I said, we're selling these koozies wrap around. $15. That's including shipping, and you get entered into the contest as well. So just to every koozie you buy is a free entry into the raffle there.
Hell yeah.
Give me 1 second. I got to do a couple of things real quick.
So to you, what's the most damning? This, you think, is the DNA or the pings or even just the surveillance itself, or the what's it called, the pictures and of his car?
Honestly, I think that for me, the DNA obviously puts him in the house, puts him with the weapon, and it's underneath the body of a victim. So I think that's pretty damning for me. I think that the phone also, not necessarily the locations. I think the fact that he turns the phone off and turns it on after the crime is a huge ordeal.
Or even the alibi he gave, that's pretty. You think that's more damning to him if he would have just stayed quiet about it and not put himself?
I asked Zach, the lawyer, that, and he said not necessarily. Just by saying that he was out driving around. I mean,
they gotta prove that's something he does all the time, right?
Yeah, but I think if he's driving out and around that area, right, then I would think that he, without a phone or without GPS, back in the backwoods area in the dark where there's not that much light pollution, I just feel that he had to have driven around there multiple times to do that. And so there might be an actual record of that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Which one do you think is the biggest piece of evidence against him?
I think the DNA, like you said, is a little so pretty much on the nose, right? But I think also I feel well in this situation. They have 51 terabytes of evidence or of data, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which both defense and the prosecutors have, right? You think? I feel like there's more to that than what we're hearing. Like I think there's more there, more evidence that implicates Bryan Kohberger in there that they're not saying.
All right, run that last part again by me.
I think there's more evidence in those 51 terabytes of data that implicates Bryan Kohberger.
I mean, yeah, I think there is too. At the end of the day, there's going to be evidence there if somebody committed a crime. You just got to figure out, like, motive and why and how. And, I think we've kind of gone through. We have a video that's going to come out in the next couple of days that gives our idea as to who, what, when, where, and why. And I think it answers a lot of the questions that people are having. If it ends up actually being how things ended up going down. Obviously, we don't have all the information to put, 100% accurate, video out there like that, but we're going to go based on the information that we do have. And, like I said, we can't say with 100% certainty that Kohberger is guilty. I think that only after or while, trial is when we're going to be able to figure that out. You know what I mean? And so,
yeah.
I don't know.
I really don't think. I still don't think, even though they give those deadlines and everything, I still don't think it's gonna happen in October. I really don't. Like, even though there's always a way, to delay stuff.
Yeah.
On either part. But I really don't think it's gonna happen in October.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think the prosecution's pushing for it.
Yeah.
I think they really want it. Man,
there's so many other things that can, try to do to delay it a little bit more.
Right. There it is. Got it. Give me a sec. I was trying to find somebody so I can do this real quick. And we're adding a new mod.
What?
Welcome Stevie to the mod squad. All right, so what is your biggest piece of evidence that goes against the prosecution in your opinion? Is it the changing of the car when they figured it out, the lack of DNA in his vehicle, his alibi?
I think, man, honestly, I think they're gonna try to push the fact that the police or the law enforcement at the time were incapable of handling this kind of case.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of the things that they, try to sink their teeth in.
100%. And I want to say thank you, Canadian True Crime Buff, for your 5 gifted Drunk Turkey show memberships. If you guys want to be a member, you gotta click allow gifts, and Ray Unravel, Cold Recovered, Marcy E. Congratulations on your gifted membership. Oh, also Steeler fan. She always gets the.
Wait, how does that work? Like somebody gifts you, is this random or?
Yeah, it's just random. I don't know.
They don't pick them.
Yeah, exactly. But for Steelers fan, it's like every time that it runs out, like immediately after, she gets a free.
It's a top contributor.
Exactly. It's the freeloader. That's my wife. Only I can call her a freeloader. Yeah. Congratulations, y'all, for y'all's membership.
Welcome.
And so, which, by the way, on Sunday, I know I'm gonna go live, and I'm going to be talking about the what's it called? Just kind of talking to you guys, and we're going to be giving away a couple of koozies and some stickers.
That's gonna be members only, right?
Yeah, it's going to be members only. If you want to be in on it, you got to hit the join membership. But oh my phone sucks. I mean, not my phone. My computer is.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't even see you touch your keyboarding.
No, I touched the keyboard. It just didn't do anything. There it goes. All right. So from the Harford County Sheriff's Office, their Criminal Investigation Division, their CID. This is referencing the Rachel Hannah Morin case. The Harford County Sheriff's Office is requesting assistance in identifying below depicted individual in relation to the homicide of Rachel Hannah Morin, which occurred on August 5th, 2023. Rachel was brutally murdered while walking on the Ma and Pa Trail in Bel Air, Harford County, Maryland. The unknown male is described as being approximately 5'9", 160 pounds, approximately 20 to 30 years of age, dark hair, muscular build, and is believed to be of Hispanic descent. This is not a current photo within the last 6 months, and the subject's hairstyle may have changed. This individual is believed to have ties to the Los Angeles area and may have been involved in violent crimes in other states. Anyone who can identify the unknown male or has additional information, is asked to please contact the Harford County Sheriff's Office at our tip line 410-836-7788 or via email at rmtips, rm as in Rachel Morin, at harfordsheriff.org. Now, there was one thing that I had asked my wife who cuts hair. I asked her about the cut right here. She thinks he did it himself. What do you think?
I think so too. Yeah, man, looks weird. But these are still photos from a video, isn't it?
Yeah. I got the video.
You got the video, right?
I got the video.
That way I can watch it. I've seen bits and I've seen the stills. I haven't seen the video itself in its entirety.
All right, so I put us down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Right, so this is him leaving. All right, somebody closes. Yeah. All right, so this is supposedly. Let's get some back information on this case, right? This video is from a Ring camera from a home invasion and an assault on a young lady that occurred where this individual left his DNA behind. That DNA was matched through CODIS with DNA that was found at the scene of Rachel Morin's murder. Police strongly believe that this individual is responsible for Rachel Morin's murder, and so, according to law enforcement, this was a home invasion. What is he doing with his hand there? He's doing something there. It looked like he almost handed or gave something to somebody.
You slow it down?
You know, let me play it, and then I'll have it slowed down after this. All right. Okay, so he walks off to the right. Now this is a slow down.
Did he shake the hand? Like a handshake kind of thing?
That's what it looked like.
Let me see. And then back on. Oh wait, it looks like he might have handed
pounding
something.
His chest.
I don't know. It does look like it, right?
And
but
somebody close.
And in the background, you can see. I don't know. They put something on, like, I guess it looks like a couch or something. I'm not really sure what it was. It was like a piece of paper, doesn't it? Can you go back?
Oh, no. So you see a hand here.
Is that a hand?
Yeah. So here's my thing. If this is, and I'm gonna play it from the beginning.
Yeah, that's the hand closing there, right? That's what it is.
Yeah. You see right here. It looks. I don't know if I zoomed in too much.
Hey, that doesn't that wrist look super small?
Which wrist?
The one that closes the.
Oh yeah, I think it's a. I think the. Man, I wish I knew. Let me slow it down from here. All right, speed. We'll go down to half speed. All right, so he's got something in his pocket. It does look like, yeah, that is a small hand. Now look at the reflection right here.
Is that a cell phone?
I don't know if it's a cell phone or a flashlight.
Cell phone flashlight? It's going through the pants. I think it's a screen of the phone, isn't it?
You know what? I think you're right. That does look like a screen for a phone.
That's crazy.
All right, so one or two things are happening here, right? In my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
This has been described as a home invasion. Now, I don't think a minor can consent to allowing an adult to come into their house, right? So is it possible that he groomed this juvenile and she snuck him in while parents were out, and this is him just leaving?
Mm-hmm.
Or he broke in and committed an extremely heinous crime. I'm not saying that the other one wouldn't have been heinous. And she just walks him out, just to get him out of the house. Right?
Could be, yeah.
But if it's the first one where she's getting groomed, you would assume she would know his true identity, don't you think?
Yeah, some record of how they were communicating, all that.
Exactly. I feel that it would be a little bit easier to find this person.
Yeah, definitely. I think it might be the second one, but I mean, at the same time, it's like why run out there or why go out without a shirt? And I don't even know if he had shoes on.
Let's see.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either.
But I might be wrong. No. I don't think he does, right?
It's because it's... don't... Damn it.
There you go.
Don't move.
There you go.
He has his shoes in his hands. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the black in his hand there. He has a shoe in his hand. So I think he is barefoot.
Yeah. Let me see. Yep. Yeah, he is. You would think there would be more footage from our surrounding homes. I mean, did they reopen the door again?
No, it's a loop.
Oh, okay. That kind of freaked me out. I was like, what the hell? Come back.
So he has what looks like shoes in his hands.
Chain on his neck. No tattoos that I could tell. Crappy haircut.
This guy reminds me of because those shoes look a little suspicious.
And where was this at?
This is in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, yeah.
And this is in March too.
Mm-hmm.
So he went cross country to Maryland between March and this home invasion and this assault and now what I think happened is that he was aware that he's on the hook here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes to Maryland because he knows that he hooked up with somebody underage. So he's going to go hang out with his friends or a family member out there until things cool down. And while he's out there, he can control himself. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, you can't see his shoes because we're in the way.
Yeah.
No.
Get me out of the way. There
Right there. You see the black and the white there of the shoe?
Wait, go back. I can probably tell what it is.
I think it's cleats, dude.
What? Not cleats. Imagine running around with cleats.
That's why he's not wearing them inside the house.
Oh yeah, that might be true. No socks neither. Like
He's not
okay,
wearing them so he doesn't leave the markings.
so if this was like, let me see, how can I put this? Like, if someone forced themselves on someone, you wouldn't expect for him to take off his shoes, socks, shirt, right? Like
I mean,
if it's just like a,
I go,
you know,
yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
you know what I mean, right? Like I don't think if it wasn't breaking into the house and doing it, like he had time. Obviously, he had time to do all this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, he just walks out the front door casually.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there isn't footage of him walking up to
Yeah.
the front door, from my understanding.
Yeah, because because that would have been a better view of his face.
So
And that's what would be all over the news right now.
you can kind of see the profile of his face there, dude.
Yeah.
It's so close. But he turns over.
That's like the worst spot for the ring camera.
Well, I mean, not really, because you'll see somebody coming up. But like, he had to have known it was there, because it doesn't look like a natural turn.
Did they say how he broke in?
No, they don't.
Because obviously it wasn't through the front door.
Man, it's so no, I don't think so. But it's so close to seeing his face, dude.
Yeah, even that I guess what it was called, the one on the door is covering the peephole too.
Yeah.
The reef, is that what it is? Reef.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know, man. I just feel like it might have been like he snuck in somewhere else, encountered the minor, right?
Yeah, well, he would have had to have known, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then I think right there he's maybe like after it was done or whatever, after the crime was committed, she like said, like told him that she wasn't gonna say anything or something. I don't know.
Right. I think that she let him in probably through like a window or something.
Who knows, man? It feels weird.
Because I mean, we also have, another piece of context that we're missing is how long was he in the house? Like, did he break in while the family was awake and he feels confident walking out of the front because they're no longer awake or they left?
Yeah,
and that's why. But he leaves, and like, to me, he just
like casually.
Yeah, and
I don't know, man. And you can tell, like, it's a kid. You know what I mean? The wrist, the height of the wrist, you can tell right away. I don't know, but I mean, obviously, the other case that he's suspected of is it came out, it had a worse ending.
Yeah,
I'm not saying this is bad, but that one, they're both real bad. But the one had someone lose their life.
Yeah. Do you think this guy's done it before?
I hope, like I always say, I hope not. But I mean, sure seems like he has, right?
Yeah.
It's just weird. Going from place to place like that kind of reminds me of, remember, was it Resendez, the one from the train tracks? They would ride the trains and commit crimes all across.
Yeah.
This, it could be something like that. Who knows what other cases he's involved in?
Look at that lineup, though.
That's a backyard. It's a backyard haircut.
I think that he did it himself. I mean, that has to be trying to cut that up with mirrors, dude.
I don't know. But, I mean, if he had tattoos, it would be a different story, right?
Yeah,
I don't see anything.
No tattoos. What about his clothing? grayish pants that you can kind of see through them.
They're sweats, aren't they? They're like joggers.
I think so.
Yeah, they're joggers, man. So he went in there with. I mean, you know what they say, right? You know
What do they say
about when you're expecting action, you always wear sweats. You know what I'm saying? Like my experience at.
So you think that he then this was definitely a planned event between him and he groomed her.
Yeah, I feel like it is, man, especially because the adults weren't there,
Yeah.
Like and who knows how? I mean, doesn't he specify how long he was in there from where supposedly he broke in and then he left? And not only that, but like almost, I don't know, like front door. I mean, you would think it would go through like the least lighted areas,
Yeah.
But I don't know. It could also be like you said earlier, that she was just trying to get rid of him. It's like she went through what she had to go through, unfortunately. But at the same time, she was like, I won't say anything, and try to convince him that she was gonna turn him to the police. So could be that.
Definitely could be. It's all speculation. You never know.
Yeah. What?
Hold on. I saw it on the side chat. I don't know if it's out yet.
No, hold on. Can't see anything. Did you put it? Oh man,
it's hot right now. You can't be wearing sweats this time of year.
It's bad right now. It's like 110 degrees. I wouldn't be wearing sweats right now.
Oh man, that was hilarious.
Put me on the spot. Jesus.
But
can I ban?
Can you ban? You could, sir. You can. Let's see. But yeah, so far, whoever this guy is, I'm going to double check right now, make sure there's not any updates. It doesn't seem that there is, in this case. Apparently, they were supposed to come out earlier yesterday with this footage, but they held off. And basically, from the press conference, it appears that they held off because they got word or information and thought that they may have gotten the guy, but ended up not working out. So, guy's still on the loose. There's no updates yet.
Yeah.
We hope that Rachel ends up getting justice soon, and this person is found.
Definitely, man. Because from what was, they didn't say in specific details how they found Rachel and whatnot. But they did mention it was real brutal attack.
Yeah.
So I mean, your mind just goes to like the worst things that could happen, to someone.
Yeah, and I mean, there was the guy that came out whose daughter ended up being the person that found the body.
Yeah,
and he describes a very gruesome scene, and I don't know, man. Leads me to believe that I don't know. He's in his mid to early 20s, so this could have been the first time he's gone to this extent. But I wonder if he's done others. I know that there was and a lot of people are trying to point it, as the same person, but there was apparently this lady who found, I guess, a murdered person in her closet of her son's closet in Los Angeles, wrapped up in plastic. People are trying to connect the two, but because
wait, is it the 11-year-old?
No, that's the one in Texas.
Okay. Yeah, I got it confused. I'm sorry about that.
But they're very similar.
Yeah, I remember the 11-year-old's a girl, right?
Yeah.
That one's tripped out too. Found under the bed, the bag.
Yeah. Well, this girl was found in the closet, and there's been speculation that maybe perhaps this person committed all three crimes. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. The one in Texas, the one in Los Angeles, and then the one in Maryland, just because he was from Los Angeles, and there's no indication how long he's been out there. But I would assume that, if he's across country and he committed a home invasion with an assault on a minor that ended up being reported, that he's probably been out there since that crime, trying to elude detection or police investigation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or like he can also be. They were saying that he might be illegal, right?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what people are alluding.
So maybe he's going to different states for work. You know how they have like different, what's it called? Labor work. Yeah, migrants.
Yeah.
So it could be that too. I don't know. It's sad, that happened. Especially, leaving back. Was it 5 kids? Was it 5?
Dude, she had 5 kids.
5 kids plus the husband. It's pretty sad, and I hope they find this guy before he either disappears back into where maybe Mexico. I don't know where he's from, and disappears because over there they don't keep track of all this stuff. Like people entering and going back, through Mexico, Honduras, and all that. It's on the way over here where we keep track.
Yeah, well, it'd be a long trip to get from Maryland to Mexico right now.
Yeah. I wish we had a better picture, of his face, facial features, or even a tattoo, scars, or anything like that.
Yeah, that would definitely be helpful. But a long trip. I think a trip to the border is a lot closer than that trip from Los Angeles to Maryland, right? I would think so. So if he's willing to make that trip across country, I wouldn't be surprised. And Maryland isn't far from the Canadian border either. So he could be gone from that area.
Yeah.
Who knows? But it does sound like I think they're going to end up catching him pretty soon. It appears that the local law enforcement are going to be working with the FBI to try to do this genealogical stuff and trace it back to somebody as well. So I think we'll probably have a suspect, either in custody or identified in the next probably a couple of weeks. I mean, how long did it take for them to create Kohbergers? The crime was committed November 13th. By December 19th, they had his name. So, yeah, about a month and a week. Yeah,
give or take.
So probably in the next 5 to 6 weeks, we'll probably within there have somebody in custody. Do you have any final questions for everybody before we let everybody go, Jaime?
Yeah, man. I wanted to tell y'all that this is probably going to be my last live. I decided to step aside. Nah, just playing with you. What's it called? I just want to say thanks to everybody. Thanks for supporting us. Mods, members, everybody's in the chat. Thanks for keeping us cool. And I hope y'all enjoyed the show.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you all, mods, everybody. I appreciate everybody in the live chat. Appreciate all you guys that are members and, the mods that are keeping everybody sane. Also, don't forget, members only on Sunday. We'll be, just talking random stuff. We'll be giving away some koozies, some stickers. Might bring out the guitar, maybe do a little bit of jamming out like last time. So it'll be a fun one. You don't want to miss it. Hit that join button. But
that was I got you, right? I had you.
I was like, wait, that's the first I hear of this.
I was hoping that I say that and you take off the glasses. I was like, oh man, but it didn't work out.
We gotta hit 40K. We gotta hit 40K. Also tomorrow though, if you want to catch me, I'll be live tomorrow night at 5:30. I'll be going live on my other channel on State of the Steelers. There I'll be doing play-by-play commentary on the Steelers versus Buffalo Bills game tomorrow. You can catch me there. Also, I think a little bit later this week, me and the wifey on a channel called Scale of 1 to 10. We have another video coming out pretty soon. So make sure you go and subscribe to those channels.
I want to come out on that one.
Dude, you need to. Come on over. We'll do something crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But
no hot sauce, man. You're always trying to make me eat hot sauce. I don't, that doesn't go well with my rectum.
we'll give you some of that moochie stuff. That shit was disgusting, dude. You know, Big Blue talked me into taking another big ass bite out of it because he's like that shit's good. He's like, I like it, and I was like, he's like, you got to try it cold. So I was like, you know what? I put it in the fridge for a while, like 3 days, and I took a huge ass bite. And I was like, still gross, dude. It's still gross. I don't get it. But thank y'all. We'll see you guys on Sunday.